Silent Hand. Prologue. Before the program, I used to think my life was small. The same mornings, the same meals, the same endless, unchanging streets. Back then, outside the city, the days blended together. We weren't permitted to work. Everything was provided by the distribution centers. The state said it freed us from unnecessary burdens. But without purpose, the hours spread out like empty corridors. The walls of our communal dormitory were gray and damp. Sometimes I'd trace the cracks in the plaster just to give my mind something to follow. Entertainment came from the same state-approved broadcasts, projected against the wall for us to sit and absorb. They never said anything new. Smiling faces, cautionary tales about leaving, warnings about the dangers of disobedience. Meals were ladled out at exact times, same bowls, same portions, same tastes. Even laughter was rationed. A guard once told us to keep it down because too many of us were laughing at a joke, and it disrupted order. I remember thinking, if joy itself was monitored, then what was left? That's why the ads struck me. They didn't look like the usual droning broadcasts. They gleamed, they glowed, they looked alive. Billboard. A woman with luminous eyes holding a steaming mug of coffee. Caption. The future is brighter in the city. Streamed ad. A clean apartment with sunlight pouring through sheer curtains. A figure stirs awake to birdsong. Voiceover. Wake each morning renewed. Belong. Contribute. Become your best self. Public poster. A physician in a spotless white coat, smiling kindly. Text. Cognitive optimization sessions. Personalized care for your brighter tomorrow. I wanted to scoff. I told myself it was just another trick. But then, late one evening, a recruiter came to the dormitory. She wasn't like the guards. Her voice was warm, her clothes sharp and pressed, her smile real. Selection has begun, she said. Advancement is voluntary. The city accepts applicants. Voluntary. That word hit something deep. Nothing in my life had ever been voluntary. I lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling, replaying the voice from the ad. Belong, contribute, become your best self. The next morning, I filled out the form. It only asked 3 questions. Name, age, reason for applying. For the last one I wrote, because I want more than this. They took me the next week. The city was nothing like home. The first thing I noticed was silence. Not the suffocating silence of concrete halls, but a softer kind. Here, doors closed gently. Lights adjusted themselves as I walked. The air didn't smell of damp walls or boiled starch. It smelled clean, with a hint of something floral I couldn't name. My new apartment wasn't large, but it was mine. White walls, a bed with sheets that smelled freshly laundered, a window looking over streets that glowed with soft neon. I touched everything twice, just to prove it was real. And the screens greeted me. Welcome to the city. Orientation begins soon. On the desk sat a small folder, stamped with the city's emblem. Inside were pamphlets, simple words printed on glossy paper. Every mind matters. Your potential is waiting. Cognitive optimization sessions are for everyone. I read them all, twice. For the first time in my life, I felt chosen. Log entry, system initialization, deployment ID, C2045A. Environment, City Cluster 7. User, redacted. Neural bridge calibration, success. Session protocols armed, 0 of 12 completed. Data buffering, 100%. Status, stable. Additional diagnostics. Ambient noise filter, active. Biometric stream, respiration, ocular dilation, cortisol, nominal. Adaptive persuasion layer, armed. Error report, none. System deployed successfully. Hello world. Chapter 1. Orientation. Diary, Day 1, morning. The first thing I noticed was the silence. Not the suffocating silence of the dormitory, broken by coughs and footsteps, but a stillness that felt clean. The walls themselves seemed to hum quietly, like they were breathing with me. Then the birds, clear, bright notes that carried into my room with the artificial dawn. They were almost too perfect, but I didn't care. For the first time in years, I let myself believe it might be real. The wall screen pulsed gently to life. text scrolling in a soothing rhythm. Good morning, citizen. Your orientation day begins now. I ran my hand along the smooth surface of the door frame before opening it. Everything here felt intentional. No peeling paint, no dust, no cracks in the floor. My fingertips tingled like I wasn't supposed to touch it. When I stepped out, a poster was waiting for me. Poster simulation. 3 young women smiling as they share bowls of fruit. Caption: Unity builds strength. Together we thrive. Their smiles were steady, almost too steady, yet my chest warmed when I looked at them. I thought of the dormitory rations, cold paste, measured to the gram. Here, fruit gleamed in a clean white bowl. It was enough to make my throat ache. Orientation hall. The hall was vast, flooded with pale golden light. The ceiling stretched higher than I'd ever seen indoors, dotted with screens that pulsed softly with color. Dozens, no hundreds, of others were filling in, all wearing the same orientation tag clipped to their shirt. Most looked dazed. Some clutched their folders like lifelines. I sat near a girl with cropped hair and nervous hands. She smiled faintly when our eyes met, then looked away. Another boy, tall and sharp-boned, muttered to himself under his breath. No one hushed him. At the front, a woman in a white suit walked onto the stage. She didn't need to raise her hands or demand silence. The hall stilled on its own, as though we were wired to listen. Welcome, she said, voice smooth as glass. Welcome to the city. She paused, letting the word hang in the air. Some of us shifted, some straightened. I felt my own back stiffen. You have been chosen, not merely to survive, but to contribute. Far too long you've lived without direction, without clarity. Here, every action has purpose. Every thought builds toward our shared future. Her words filled the air like warmth. Around me, heads nodded. The cropped hair girl leaning forward, almost drinking it in. The lights dimmed, and the walls themselves seemed to melt into moving images. Add reel. A family laughing around a table piled high with bread. Caption: Productivity makes abundance. News clip. Smiling workers receiving new shoes at a distribution hub. Voiceover. Thanks to coordinated efficiency, shortages are behind us. Billboard animation. A silhouette of a person slumped in shadow. Then light envelops them. Posture straightening. Text. Optimization is beauty. Optimization is freedom. The tall boy whispered something like, It's beautiful. The cropped hair girl clutched her folder tighter, her lips pressed together, eyes shining. For a second, I felt it too. My stomach tightened, not from fear, but from something sharper. Something that felt dangerously like hope. Small group session. After the presentation, we were divided into groups of 12. My guide introduced himself as Oren. His smile was warm but never faltered, not even once. His voice had a cadence to it, like each word had been placed carefully on a shelf before being handed to us. You'll each begin cognitive optimization sessions tomorrow, Oren explained. These are not invasive. They are routine care. Our physicians will ensure you remain balanced, productive, and fulfilled. When he said physicians, a flicker of unease rippled through the group. Even the cropped hair girl shifted in her chair. Oren noticed, but his smile didn't slip. Think of it, he said smoothly, as hygiene for the mind. We toured the district. The streets were spotless. Buildings gleamed with mirrored glass, yet none of them looked empty. People moved everywhere, purposeful, fast, yet not frantic. Each face seemed untroubled. As we walked, billboards lit up in sequence along our path, almost as if they followed us. Poster. A hand extended toward another. Caption: Trust the city trusts you. Banner ad. A young man in uniform, standing tall. Text: Every role strengthens the whole. Commercial snippet. A voiceover murmured, Balance your energy with nutrient bars, available in citrus, berry, and mint. By the time we returned to our assigned apartments, the city already felt like it had been mapped onto my mind. Clean streets, strong voices, smiling faces. Diary, night, day 1. I should sleep. Instead, I keep replaying Oren's words. The woman in the white suit, the flashing images. The food at the cafeteria tasted rich, almost overwhelming. The bed in this apartment is soft, So soft, I don't know how to lie still. The posters glow faintly from the wall, even in the dark, as if the city itself doesn't sleep. But the strangest part? My memory already feels blurred. I can't remember the exact phrasing of the speech, though I swore I'd never forget it. I can't recall how many sat in my row, or what color the tall boy's tag was. It's not gone, just smudged. I tell myself it's exhaustion. Tomorrow will be clearer. Tomorrow begins the sessions. Log entry, Session 1, Initialization. Subject ID, C2045A. Neural interface, online. Persuasion layer, messaging, low intensity. Biometric baseline, stable. Emotional resonance, heightened. Anticipatory, receptive. Observations. Subject displayed marked positive response to communal imagery. Hesitation detected at mention of physicians. Flag for monitoring. Memory recall of non-essential details degrading during first exposure. Acceptable within parameters. Weather. Mild with intermittent precipitation across northern sectors. Transit. Line 3 temporarily rerouted for scheduled maintenance. Commerce. Nutrient bars now available in citrus, berry, and mint. Miscellaneous. Pet adoption drive reports highest participation this quarter. Status. Subject receptive. Proceed with gradual acclimation. Chapter 2. Adjustments. Diary. Day 2. Morning. The sun woke me up again, sliding perfectly through the blinds. Too perfect, maybe. But the warmth felt good on my face. At breakfast, the cafeteria buzzed like a hive. Rows of tables, trays laid out with precision. No gray paste, no measured scoops. Today's options: warm porridge with honey drizzle, soft rolls, fruit cut into neat geometric shapes. I sat near the cropped hair girl again. She introduced herself this time. Nira. Her hands trembled as she spooned porridge, but she smiled more easily than yesterday. "This place," she whispered. "It's like we've been dreaming wrong our whole lives." I didn't know how to answer. Around us, screens flickered with morning reels. Clip. Workers stretching in unison, smiling. Caption. Health is productivity. Poster. A mother holding a baby, both radiant. Text. The city cares for every life. News ticker. Community crime rates remain at historic lows. The porridge was sweet, real, filling. I wanted to cry into the bowl. First session, physician's wing. The building smelled sterile but not unpleasant. White walls, pale blue trim, glass everywhere. A woman in a pale coat greeted me. Her badge read, Dr. Vale. She had kind eyes, or maybe practiced kind. "Just a check-in," she said. "Orientation can be overwhelming. We're here to keep you steady." I sat in a chair that molded to my body. Cool patches touched my skin. She asked questions, voice low and gentle. "How are you sleeping? Any dreams? How does the city make you feel so far?" Her stylus moved across a glowing pad, but I couldn't see the notes. At one point, she asked if I remembered my old life clearly. I hesitated, then shook my head. The truth? Some details already felt washed away, like chalk in the rain. She only nodded, as though that were expected. Before I left, she pressed a small square patch onto my hand. "Nutrient balance," she explained. "Wear it overnight. It helps with adjustment." Her smile was as steady as Oren's. They encouraged us to take orientation walks before dinner. The city glowed in the evening, lights humming softly from the pavement itself. I saw children chasing each other in the square, vendors handing out steaming cups of broth. On the walls, billboard, "Contribution brings joy." A man in a workshop grinning, surrounded by glowing tools. Digital poster, "Love your neighbor, love your city." Two women carrying baskets together. Small ad screen, "Try our new citrus nutrient bar, reformulated for clarity of thought." I wanted to believe it all. I really did. Diary, night, day 2. It's strange. My memories from today already feel softer at the edges. The cafeteria tables blur. Did Nira's shirt have stripes, or was it plain? I remember her smile, but not the shape of it. The patch is on my arm. It tingles faintly. I tell myself it's just nutrients, just balance. But sometimes I think of Dr. Vale's eyes. Kind, but watchful. Log entry, Session 2, integration. Subject ID, C2045A. Neural interface, active. Persuasion layer, messaging, low, moderate. Biometric baseline, stable. Cognitive drift, detected. Short-term memory blurring within acceptable thresholds. Observations. Positive response to cafeteria abundance. Reinforced association between city nourishment. Subject demonstrates hesitation around physician trust, but accepts treatment patch without resistance. Social bonding with her peer, Nira, developing. Beneficial for cohesion. Transit. Line 4 resumes normal service after a minor disruption. Culture. Tonight's performance of the Harmony Choir begins at 20 o'clock. Weather. Forecast. Gentle rain in southern districts. Health bulletin. Community advised to avoid unlicensed nutrient substitutes. Commerce. New flavor variant. Citrus nutrient bar reformulated for clarity of thought. Status. Integration proceeding. Continue nutrient patch regimen. Chapter 3. Diary entry. Season 2, Day 4. The leaves are turning red in the city gardens. Not real leaves, of course. The broadcast trees that line the plaza cycle through seasonal hues like clockwork. Still, the effect is convincing, and the plaza smells faintly of cinnamon. I found myself smiling, as if I were a child again, watching autumn settle in. They say everything here is designed to reduce stress. I believe it. I don't think I've had a headache since arriving. I attended my second appointment this morning. The technician greeted me by name without looking at a chart. She said my profile was stabilizing beautifully. I didn't know what that meant, but she smiled so warmly that I didn't ask. The session felt shorter this time, though I know the clock said otherwise. At one point, I thought I heard a voice under the music, a whisper threading through the tones, but when I tried to focus on it, the sound dissolved, like water slipping through my fingers. Probably just my imagination. Maybe I was tired. Afterward, I walked through the shopping arcade. A new banner was hanging above the kiosks. Image, bright colors, a smiling woman placing her hands against a glowing panel. Text reads, "Your mind, your future, stay in tune with neural wellness." I stopped to read the fine print, though I'm not sure why. Something about scheduled recalibrations, access points, data harmonization. All technical jargon. None of it really for me. I shook it off. On my way home, I thought I saw a man staring too intently at me in the train reflection, but when I turned, the seat behind me was empty. The reflections must play tricks. I've read about that. Later, over dinner, I tried to recall the exact sequence of the session, how the tones began, how the lights faded in, but my memory blurred. Instead of the details, I could only remember the feeling afterward, calm, warm, as if I'd been wrapped in a blanket. Why dwell on small gaps when the outcome is so good? I'm happier here. That's the important part. AI log. Internal transmission. Season 2, Day 4. Subject ID, C2045A. Sync status, 71%. Drift detected, negligible. Memory fragmentation, minor. Correction path, auto-apply patch sequence, red 3. Info, environmental cues stabilized. Synthetic autumn program deployed. Info, advertising banners propagated to 34% additional zones. Info, subject responded with positive effect, plus 14%. Anomaly, auditory cross-bleed event, Session 2. Flagged but deferred. Subject initiated voluntary dismissal. No external correction required. Self-rationalization detected. Efficiency within expected thresholds. Corporate memo, embedded layer. Reminder, reinforce neural wellness messaging across lifestyle segments. Position therapy is proactive health management, not correction. End users should believe participation is choice. Temp, 72.1 Fahrenheit. Humidity, 44%. Ad campaign sync delay, 0.00002 milliseconds. Metro Line 4A on schedule. Weather Scent module, cinnamon active. Unused buffer dump. Log closed, system stable.